Hey, fellow do-it-yourselfers. I have a really cool project. It's for a body shop. They're working on a Jaguar, and the owner purchased this ivory Blaupunkt radio, and they want to know if it works. So I looked for some manuals. This manual is close, but not exact. It doesn't match the buttons up front, so later in the video I'll research those and tell you how it's at. I thought I'd do this video because no one really showed how to configure this radio. It's pretty amazing. It looks like it's a 60s era radio, and it can be configured to be either positive or negative chassis ground, 6 volt or 12 volt. I thought I'd share how you configure this radio for you. Okay, I'll first start by showing you how to know it's 12 volt or 6 volt. You just pry up this cover. I've already done it. You just pry it up right here, and then this comes up. Make sure that plastic insulation is there. That makes sure the chassis does not ground against this circuit board and short out. The next thing is you'll see a little tab right here. This pulls out. Hope I can do it with one hand. There it goes. It comes out. And you can either turn it around to be, I'll try to focus it, 12 volt. If you turn it over, 6 volt. I'm going to configure this and test this in 12 volt mode. So 12 volt needs to point up, and make sure you slide it all the way in. And then put the cover back on, and we're going to flip it to determine how it is grounded, either positive ground or negative ground. Okay guys, I flipped over the radio. Let's make sure it has good insulation in there, and it does. So let's see if I can show you. So the radio is upside down. It would be on the left side if you were looking at it this way as if it's installed. And there's a little tab right here. It's already pulled out a little bit. And this one can be configured positive. This would be positive chassis ground or negative chassis ground. I'm going with negative chassis ground. Hope I can put this in, holding the camera. Can. Make sure it goes all the way in, all the way down. And then reinstall the lid. And now you know this particular radio is negative chassis ground, meaning this right here, right there, will be negative chassis and or ground. And then this is positive 12 volt. If you remember, we just determined it was 12 volt. Now we know it's 12 volt to that wire. And I'm going to reinstall the cover. The next topic is the antenna. This is the antenna wire, classic antenna. Speaker connection. If you notice on the right, it has 2 lines, and on the left, it's a single line. So this will probably be the positive and negative, positive and negative. But what's the difference between the single line and double line? On the left side, the single line, you put 1 speaker only. On the right, you can install 2 speakers in parallel. The documentation will show it, and I'll show it right here. Hey guys, I hooked up the radio. Let's see if it's going to work. I'll include a wiring diagram of how I wire everything up given this given configuration. Here we go. So the power button is this 1 0. Yay, it works. So I found out what these buttons in front do. Let me turn it down so you can hear me. I found out what these buttons up front do. So 1 0 is off on of the radio. The musical notes pointing down would be analogous to bass. And if you click it, push it in, this is how, this next button is how you would undo it. And then this would be analogous to treble. And this is how you undo it. So let's hear it again to celebrate. My job was to verify the radio works. It does, and you even see a little light in there. That's working. So the owner of this Jaguar, which is going in, will be very happy to have this installed in it. I'm not sure if I'll install it. If I install it, I'll go through that. I don't have all the necessary hardware or connectors for it.
Okay, let's discuss how I wired up the radio for this test. Again, quick summary. The radio is set up to be 12 volt positive, and the chassis of the radio is ground. Therefore, I assume the chassis of the car would be ground, and you'll see why that's pertinent. So the antenna was connected to the radio via the antenna wire, and then the base, the mount, the part of the antenna that would touch the chassis, I grounded to the negative terminal of the car battery charger. The chassis of the radio I connected to the battery charger ground or negative terminal. The positive was set up here, so the positive terminal of the battery charger went to the yellow wire of the radio. And lastly, I only went with one speaker, and I connected the positive and negative leads of the speaker to the two prongs of the speaker connector for a single speaker. That's it. Pretty straightforward.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found the information helpful.